everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Amber Westbrook, and today I'm going to be making a Tinkerbell cosplay. Now, as I'm filming this intro, I've actually already made the Tinkerbell cosplay, and let me tell you, it's definitely going to be worth the watch. I've spent a couple weeks on making all the bits and pieces of it, and I really think it turned out super amazing. I also posted the making of this in sections on TikTok, so if you're coming here from TikTok, welcome. This is how I made the whole cosplay, and if you're not subscribed to my TikTok, it's right here, so feel free to follow me there as well. I post a lot of like Disney stuff and crafty stuff on there as well, but I'm kind of trying to merge the two accounts so that my YouTube and my TikTok kind of have the same theme. I really just want to share it with all of you guys. So if you want to give me a subscribe, feel free. And without further ado, let's get into how I made Tinkerbell. So the first step that I had to do was design and print the hammer because, of course, I have to have Tinkerbell's Lucky Tinker Hammer. And I totally meant to record the designing and 3D printing of this, but my camera failed 5 minutes in. So basically there is no design, but you can see it printing. So here it is printing, and then we will get to the fun part, adding the lights. So after I printed it, I decided to carve out the little design so that it would show up better because it was super matte, didn't want to show up. So I decided that I was just going to kind of drill out the centerpiece and then drop in some clear resin on there with a little bit of gold sparkle so that whenever I put fairy lights in, it would light up and be really obvious. Okay, so now all of the pieces of my little hammer are done. I have the little cutout with the resin. I have the handle that holds it all together. This is where the button is gonna go. And then I have the bottom cap to close this all together. And as of right now, I think I'm just going to take the easy way out and I'm not going to coat any LEDs because I really just want it to light up like on or off. And so this is great. I have this little string of fairy lights. It has just this little on-off switch, but the problem is I hate batteries for this and I don't want to have to worry about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a really simple configuration to turn this from this into having a Type-C battery charger that I can just plug into my Type-C cable and charge for a little bit, and then it'll stay charged for a long time. I shouldn't need a very big battery, so I'm just going to use this little lithium one. This is 180 milliamp hours, which is more than enough for this tiny little string of lights. So it shouldn't even need to get charged that much. And then I'm just going to use this little circuit board to convert it from having battery power directly to going through here. This will charge the battery and also power the lights. And then this is the charging button. And then I just need to wire the little button clicker, which I'm going to use this one, on off. And that should do it. It's actually a really simple configuration. There's kind of a lot of parts, but honestly, it is not that hard. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is unscrew the little battery compartment because I am no longer going to use these little coin batteries because I hate them so much. I'd rather have something die and then like recharge it later when I get to a port rather than have something where I have to change out the batteries, especially since these batteries are so wasteful. They die so quick and then you just have to throw them away, which is really annoying because then you just have to buy more, they create waste. There's a whole lot of reasons why I'm like, nope, I don't want to deal with it. So I'm going to conserve these little screws for later because you never know when you need those teeny tiny little bitties. And I'm just going to take this apart. See, there's those coin batteries, which I'm not going to use. I'm just going to mark out the negative and positive, and then I'm going to just pull this right out of here. Okay, so now I have my little thread and I'm going to set that aside. So now I'm going to take my little button and I'm going to take my circuit board and I'm going to take my battery and I'm going to really quickly sew the battery. I just said sew. Okay, we're going to solder. We're not going to sew. Okay, this has been on my brain for a while. Okay, we're going to solder the battery to the battery plus and the battery minus. All right, I'm just going to put a little bit of solder in there. So the battery is now hooked up. Now I'm going to work on the little button. So in order for the battery to get its power to the actual lights, it's going to have a direct connection from the positive side and the negative side to the positive and negative of the lights. And so I'm going to put a disruptor in between there. So basically this button will tell it whether to send the signal from the battery or not. And that's really just as simple as it is. So basically the charging port is going to be on the bottom and then the button's going to be on the top. So now I'm just going to solder a white wire from my negative to the negative side. Okay, and there is my basic charging setup right there. Now we can wire in our lights. So now I'm going to take my base with the hole in the top and I'm going to put this little contraption through here so that I don't have to shove all the lights through later. I can just put it in the top right now and not have to worry about it because I'm going to wire it through the bottom. This will make my life much, much easier. Okay, so we'll just put that over there for now. And then I'm going to just twist these wires together because we want negative to negative. I'm going to go ahead and solder those together. So now, if I turn this on with the juice, this should light up. I'm just going to test it. And it does. Look, there it is. It's lit up. So now I can solder these together. And if I turn this off, unclip that button right there and do it now, it's off. So everything is working great. So now let me just solder this little last piece to this one. And then I can heat shrink my tubing and all of the internal wiring, which is really simple, is all going to be done. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two green wires back off of this button. And then I'm going to put the wires back up through this hole and put the button back on so that the button can fit in the hole. Basically, I'm just going to wire these all the way back up this little hole. So now that these wires are back up through their hole, one of the wires is going out to this wire right here that's coming up to the top, and the other wire is going down to where this is plugged in, which is just perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. And now I'm just going to bring the button back over here, and I'm just going to resolder these to the button the way that they were before. And all of this is totally unnecessary if you're making something like this and you are okay with batteries. I just do not like throwaway batteries. I'd rather have rechargeable all day, every day, any day. I hate getting new batteries. Plus, rechargeable batteries just seem to last better and longer, especially depending on the milliamp hours, which I don't have very many milliamp hours on this one. But that is totally fine because it is just a tiny little string of fairy lights, so it honestly shouldn't be a problem at all. Okay, now that my button is wired back into there, I'm basically just going to shove all of these back down in, put this little thing in the hole, and I will glue this in later. But now you see that is in the hole. My lights are coming out of the top, which will go into the top part of the hammer, which is going to glow. And then down here, I have my battery and my battery plug. So now I can just glue my battery and my battery plug, and then this should work. Fairy lights with a button! This is probably the simplest thing I could have done. Honestly, I could have put a secondary board in here with like a brain on it that I coated all these LEDs and have like a strand of LEDs. But honestly, I'm really happy with these LEDs for just this small project because I'm like, I don't really need it to do more than light up. I mean, I could probably do a whole lot more than have it light up. But because I'm doing like the whole costume and everything, just having it turn on and light up just normal, that's good for me. I'm good. I'm happy. Okay, so now to assemble all of the top of it and everything, I'm just going to go ahead and take the front of my hammer, shove all of these lights into it, and then I can put the cords and stuff like that into the back of the hammer like this. And I'm going to use some 2-part epoxy glue to glue these two sides together, and then I can shove the rest of these wires back down in there. And then when I put it together and you turn the lights on, then it's going to turn right on. So that is perfect. So all I need to do now is to glue these pieces together, glue this piece to this piece, put the bottom piece on here with the hole cut out. See how there's a charging port hole? So I just line these up, put the hole right there on the bottom, seal it all together, and then I got this leather like strapping, I guess, and I'm going to cut it down thinner and I'm going to wrap it around because there's a leather strap around it in the movie reference, and then that will be the entire wand. So I'm going to do that right now. Oh my goodness, you guys. Look at it. Look at it. Oh, she is a beautiful creature. Look at that. I mean, I know a lot of people have cosplayed as Tinkerbell, but how many people do you know that have cosplayed as Tinkerbell with Tinkerbell's hammer? Yes. Does this make me a tinker now? You know what? I honestly think though, like, I would have been a tinker anyway, so the hammer chose me. Ah, just another step along our Tinkerbell cosplay journey, and I'm very, very happy with this one. So the next step I decided to do was the shoes. I was super excited about these, but I could not find any shoes that were actually green. So I just decided to find some really comfortable ones that were white. So I got some acrylic leather paint, which I absolutely love, and I just started painting the shoes completely green, and I wasn't too worried about it being streaky because the next step was to make them glittery. So my number one tip on making shoes, or really anything glittery if you don't want it to shed, is to mix the glitter into the Mod Podge. It is literally my favorite tip because it will not shed. Just make sure every piece of glitter is coated really well in the Mod Podge and paint it on in several layers. It dries really fast, it dries super clear and shiny and glittery, and it is so amazing. I was just blown away by the result. Okay, so these aren't even all the way dry yet, but these turned out way better than I thought. Look, you can still see that there's like white from the Mod Podge on them, but like look at this. This used to be a white shoe. This used to be a white shoe. I know it doesn't have the pom pom on, but can you just imagine with the big white pom pom right there? Honestly, like I thought they would turn out okay, but I thought they might be like splotchy or have like issues or whatever. No, this looks like a green sparkly shoe that you got from the store. Look at the shoe. This is a proud moment. I honestly can't believe how good these shoes are. And they're like comfy on the inside and everything. Oh, this is gonna be great. I don't think I'm gonna have too much problem with like the Mod Podge being stiff. My boyfriend kind of was like, well, are they gonna be too stiff? I don't think so. I mean, plus they're ballet flat, so it's like, I don't think it's gonna be that big of a problem. And anyway, worth it. I would say worth it. This is one of the most amazing things ever. I can't even believe this. Like, look at it. This looks like it came this way. It looks like it came this way. Yeah, I made this. So then it was time to put on the pom pom. Now I got these really, really cool pom poms that actually have little snaps in them. So I was able to just put a whole bunch of epoxy 2-part glue and then a bunch of hot glue as well to hold the snap on. And then I can just snap the pom pom on after, and it stays on perfectly. It's amazing. And I had no issues with them falling off or anything like that. So highly recommend, if you can, to get a pom pom with a snap on. So to be honest, I actually made these wings like probably like 4 or 5 years ago. So it was not my best work ever, but I still think they turned out pretty good. I basically just like drew out the shape and used some reference that I had seen on the internet for what Tinkerbell's wings looked like. And then once I felt like I had a good enough shape, I kind of traced out the whole shape in wire and made a U shape in between the wings so that I could put it in the back of a corset or a dress. And I can't remember even what gauge of wire I used. I just remember it was really hard to work with. So it for sure was a very, very heavy gauge of wire. And then I literally just hot glued some sheer fabric onto it. And I made sure that I caught all of the edges and made really clean lines so that there wasn't like strings hanging off it or anything. And then for all the little miniature details and everything, I basically just took some really sparkly, glittery sequin trim and just glued it directly onto the fabric. So I didn't even wire out the inside trim because this wire was just giving me a very hard time. But at the end of the day, it actually looks really, really good, and I'm super happy with them. Like, I still, to this day, don't really have a problem with them. I know that if I redid them, I could probably do them better, but honestly, the whole reason I wanted to do this cosplay is because I never got a chance to use these wings, and I'm really happy that now I finally have a use for them. Okay, so just a word about the corset before we get into it. I was happy with the final result. I actually think it turned out really well, but I have never made a corset that's like a full bodysuit before. I've only made the kind of corsets that end at the bottom, and this one was so much more complicated, and it took a really long time, and it took a billion fittings, and I don't even know if I got it perfect at the end, but I do have to say, I thought it wasn't going to work out about 20 times. And then finally, I was like, I'm just going to put the grommets in. I'm going to put this big zipper in, which didn't exactly match because the green zipper that I had broke. So it's a teal zipper, but I don't really care because it goes under everything. But the end result was just so stunning. And I'm not going to show it on. I will show like it off, and then you can see the structure of it underneath the outer dress. But let me just say, that was several days of work just to get the corset to work, and I'm sure that the next time I make a corset it will be much better. I am very proud of the final result, but let me tell you, like, the amount of tantrums I threw and the amount of frustration that I had making this stupid corset was crazy. But at the end, it made me look super snatched in my Tinkerbell costume, so I'm okay with it. So basically, I just made the pattern and tried it on a billion times. Once I had that, I cut it out in the satin, I ironed on the interfacing, sewed all the billion pieces together, sewed in all the boning, and then all of the grommets, which I only had these big ones, which I'm okay with. It's fine. And this is the finished corset. It actually turned out really good, surprisingly. So then I had to make the dress, and I wanted to make it out of a really comfy knit because the corset was going to be so structured it wouldn't matter anyway. So I went ahead and printed some sublimation sheets so that I could have some green leaf print on the fabric itself, and then I just printed it on double brush poly with my heat press and kept on going until I liked the way that it looks. I basically sewed a tube top with some leaves cut out for the skirt, and I think it turned out really well because you can totally see the leaf pattern and it really looks like Tinkerbell. Okay, so as you can see, my hair and makeup are still done. I want to show you the reveal of this amazing, amazing cosplay. Like, I did not think it was going to turn out this good. I'm really, really proud of it. Like, this is probably the most, like, put together cosplay I've ever done. And I have a whole bunch of fabric to make a whole bunch more cosplays. So I'm really excited to start on the next one. And it was really nerve-wracking because I usually don't go out in public with my cosplays. I usually just wear them for like Halloween when everyone's dressed up. But you know what? I think judging by the reveal video that you're about to watch, that I think it's worth it. And I got to feel like a Disney princess. Well, a Disney fairy at least. I know she doesn't technically count, but I felt like a princess, so I think it counts. And with all that being said, here's the final reveal. I hope you love it as much as I do. So that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. If you liked this video, please hit that like button and feel free to subscribe if you want to see more cosplays and crafty things. And until next time, thanks for watching.